All right. It is 4:30. We'll call a Judy District Number 1 of Skagit County to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so I'm looking for a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 3.
Looking for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll move on to audience comments. Anybody online, please use the raise your hand function. I do not see anybody in the audience here locally, so anyone? Anybody else?
Doesn't look like it.
See anyone? All right. We'll move on to old business. George.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. Good afternoon, everyone. A couple of updates. So the last meeting updated you that we heard back from Department of Ecology and that we didn't get any of the drought funding for the Munt Creek valve automation project. And last week I heard back from the EPA on our grant application for the generator up at the water treatment plant, and we were also denied for that. So I've requested a debrief with the program manager from EPA to get some details on what could have been done better with the application. So just in case we decide to ever pursue something like that again. We do still have an outstanding application with Public Works Board that we're waiting to hear from in October regarding Panorama tank project. So we should hopefully get that information while we're in our budget process. And speaking of budget, so we've started meeting internally, our management team, to update our CIP and the operations budget. And we'll bring that forward at our budget hearing on October 13th. Couple of other minor items. So our maintenance staff have finished pipe installation on Peterson Road. So that installation project is pretty much wrapped up. And in the information section, I'll touch on a few of the items that are in there. So there's 2 SP&Ps that are included for your review. One's for hazardous waste and the other for Silica. Another item in there that you'll see is that in coordination with the city of Anacortes and as required by the MOA, 1996 MOA, we've issued a second PSA for voluntary water conservation because the river's been below the in-stream flow for more than 15 days. So that went out last week, I believe. There are some emails from some community members about our water rights lease program. Those are included in there. And then the Judy Reservoir chart. So the drawdown's going pretty consistently, and it's now approaching 460. And that same slope continues as we approach 455. We can start having some conversations about it, but we're obviously a lot higher at this time than we were last year, which is good. And that's all I have for my update, unless there's any questions.
Just a question on the joint letter between us and City of Anacortes. In previous years, as far as our initial communication with the public, so like the level 1 where we did our Facebook, and they do, I don't know if they do it in the Anacortes American or
It's a press release for them, yeah.
Okay. Is this a format that's traditional for us to do a joint letter? And then how is this distributed besides in our meeting minutes to the public?
We put this on, Kevin puts it on our social media platforms. And so that's how we distribute it. And the website.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no specifics on how to communicate it. And so we've chosen to do it our way. We partner to make sure that the message is the same. And then the city chooses how they distribute it. And typically they've done letters and press releases. That's pretty much been the way that they've handled it.
Okay. And then just the last question, it says any questions are to be directed to Terry Nemeth. Do we have our own contact on there as well?
On our posting.
On ours?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
They've been on television and they're kind of a point.
Okay. Got it. Thank you for the clarification.
And, people have seen this and commented about it, and the important thing to point out is it's voluntary, right? It's a 10% voluntary, reduction notice. So there's no enforcement on anything like this, but yeah. Anything else? Okay. We're
All right,
ready.
we'll move on to engineering department update. Mark?
Thank you. Let's see here. Mission, vision, values. Everybody know these? Okay, good.
Is your mic on?
Yes,
Is it?
it's intentional.
Oh.
All right, so let's see, I'll hit some, this is the table that I used for the last meeting, and I'll use it again. We updated it a little bit to show kind of where we're at now. Just a couple of projects I want to highlight. The hydraulic model, we did select Aquanuity, and mostly with the reason for selecting them is they have a nice, our current model is more of an AutoCAD based model. The Aquanuity is more of a GIS based model. And so we can do a one-to-one updates with our GIS system. So we're not updating two models, and we tested that and it worked out real good. And then our other intention is to maybe have the data be a little bit more public so that there's not as much labor for individual inquiries. So we'll publish a list of flows at hydrants and then update that maybe quarterly or every 6 months, so that the consultants have that at their fingertips. The cross-connection enforcement, cross-connection control inventory, we got a letter from DOH that indicated they are going to be stepping up their level of enforcement on unprotected services. This year it is chemical plants and veterinary clinics. And there's a couple of options we have to deal with those. We reclassify them and take them off the chemical list, or get them protected. We're going to do an evaluation of these sites. We believe 2 of the chemical sites will not be, maybe a third will also be removed from that list. But nonetheless, they're going to be increasing their enforcement on unprotected facilities. And our traditional path has been, we allow unprotected services to go to continue until there's some permit activity. Just because that's, they're kind of grandfathered in, and when a permitted activity comes in, then we catch up with them. That isn't going to be able to, it's not going to be able to, we're not going to be able to do that as long moving forward. And they have a list of services that they're going to be targeting each year. And I think our biggest liability is in the agricultural area. So we'll have to look at some of those through our budgeting process, and maybe how we want to handle them or what enforcement we're going to do. But we are going to, this next year, we're going to step up enforcement and start requiring those services that are on the list to come into compliance. The generator, the grant didn't work out, but we are ready to go to bid. And I think that's going to be part of a bigger budget discussion, prioritizing what we need. The PUD remodel of the administration, or of the old building, is kind of in that same thing. We are ready to go to bid. We need to evaluate the estimate and see how it fits in with our budget. The big news is we received the building permit for our disinfection building, the disinfection replacement building. We got the county permit, the DOH is ready to issue their letter, and we anticipate going to bids in October. The I-5 Culshan Trail boring project is in permitting. It's been a while, so we expect something soon. The Alger project is done, so we're pretty happy about that. 4 years to finally get that done, and it was more of a administrative headache than actual physical work, but glad to have it done. As George mentioned, Peterson Road between Avon Allen and Pulver Road is complete. There is a small section a little bit further west between Easy Road and Sunrise Lane that needs to be complete yet. And then the Riverside Bridge, or not the Riverside, the Skagit River Bridge is about a quarter of it has been blasted and primed. And so once they finish that, they're going to move to they're on the north side now. They're going to move to the south side of the bridge and and then do that quarter of the bridge next. I have a paper towel.
I think Brian went to go get something.
Good. So that'll be primed, and then after that, they're going to put on. There'll be 2 coats of paint that go on. Kind of hard to tell where they are with the schedule. They're saying that they're having a hard time getting tarps to enclose more of the bridge. Right?
Okay.
That's what they do. You can go to are there any questions on the capital program or anything here?
Just any updates, I think, on the Hillcrest pipe replacement. If we have any movement there with the city of Mount Vernon or
Yeah,
not?
thank you, Brian. Very kind of you.
I'm gonna need more.
We'll take care of it. I don't know. We've kind of, I've really been letting it sit for a while. I'm not trying to push that. We've got a couple of other things with the city that, we're interested in. And, I don't want to create a battle right now. So, we're going to continue to just keep it on our list. It's something that's fully designed and they've got it permitted except for the ADA requirements. Well, including the ADA requirements. It's just the question of whether or not we trigger the ADA requirements with our work. So we're going to let that sit. We did put, so the Peterson Road and the SR9 project really replaced that lineal footage pretty well. It's not quite all the way, but pretty close to it. Good job, Shannon. Thank you. And so, we're just going to swap that one out and for now, and kind of put it on the shelf. That's our plan. I do want to come back to it, revisit in fall, because the actual permitting requirements that they're speaking of are really going to require us to really consider where we do our work.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Shannon. So we are doing work in Cedar Woolley on other pipelines that need replacement. Their permitting process is pretty good. Neither the city of neither Burlington or the city of Cedar Woolley have these same PROAG requirements that the city of Mount Vernon has. Other questions?
Is it worth mentioning like the cross connection control program, DOH enforcement is going to happen statewide. It's not specific to us. They have a new person in that position at the state level. And I think you're going to see that with water utilities all across the state. So you'll see it at the city as well, and different cities. I think they're going to step up their enforcement.
Yeah, I don't think this enforcement is really too different what they have done historically. I think they have, for a while, they were out of staff and now they're restaffing and they're re-implementing they're restarting these programs that kind of um, fell by the wayside.
I guess another follow-up to that is how well have we seen our grant program that we've been offering to those who are in need of adding cross-connection control to their locations?
Yeah, the incentive, it's been really good bringing people online. It hasn't been terribly successful with farmers. There's just not a real desire to do that. But we have, I mean, basically we have advance notice from DOH on who's going to be required. And so we're going to target those people specifically and say, hey, look, your service is going to require this. And if you do it in advance, we've got this money to help you out, but if you wait, we can't help you. So those are going to be letters that we're sending out this year. And the first compliance is going to be these veterinarian clinics and chemical places that are probably going to be required to, come online by July of next year. And if they don't, then we're going to have hopefully we'll have our own enforcement action that requires them to come online. That's our intent. Other questions? Okay, good. Let's see. Can you I have the slide. I better not touch anything here. Who knows what else is going next? Service line inventory. The LCRI is the improvement to the LCR rule. And in 2027, they're going to require an update to our inventory. And we're not really sure what that's going to look like. It's possible that if there are any galvanized service lines requiring replacement, of which we have 5, or lead service lines, that we could possibly have to do a full inventory with visual, not be able to do the statistical method. It's possible nothing happens. We don't really know what's going on. So we're just going to keep our eye on that. In the meantime, Court put together a tool for our crews to use. And basically what it does is you see the C and the U, those are customer and utility. And it kind of inventories what services have been examined by our crew and which ones haven't. And so it's good, or that we've have good records on and still need verification. So like if there's something that has a C, a red C and a green U, that's probably something that says, well, we have good as-built records that demonstrate that it's never been lead, or there's no lead in the past. We just don't have all the records on the customer side and no one's looked at it. So then it's just a matter of us looking at it. And this will give the crews the ability to do that when they're out doing other projects. In the development group, just a couple of highlights. The Overlook development, that's a picture of the reservoir at the top of their site. We have implemented a process where we take a small deposit for doing developer reviews so that liability doesn't transfer to any future property owner. Sometimes what happens is a developer will have a set of plans reviewed, and we start charging those costs to that job. They get it to a certain point, and then they'll sell the whole package for someone else to complete. Then the new person comes in with their approved plans, and they have to pay a fee to have them, do the final review. So this kind of helps us with that. The Fish and Wildlife seasonal transfer is complete. We've reviewed the Anacortes water system plan, mostly for service area kind of stuff that is west of the Anacortes water treatment plant and before Twin Bridges. And then once they're approved, we're going to work together to kind of figure out a mechanism to transfer some of those services that are on their transmission line and other areas that we need to take over as part of our retail service area. And then one last thing, Draper Valley got their AMI meter and are using it. So that's cool. And that is all I have. I don't know if there are any other questions. Let me just take care of that. Are there questions? We're good. All right.
Was that water?
It was.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Ice water, right?
You bet, there's ice. It's underneath the thing now.
We'll need a deposit next time it comes up to speak.
Well, thank you, Mark, and damage deposit. We will move on to water rights lease program stakeholder forum discussion. George.
All right, so not a lot of discussion is intended, just kind of a prep and summary for next week's meeting. So the invitation went out last week to all the parties for the stakeholder meeting, followed up with another email that included all the pre-read materials and the agenda and the questions. So all the information is out to everybody that's intended on coming. I'm hearing from people, getting questions, getting requests for meetings. So I had a meeting yesterday, City of Burlington, a meeting tomorrow, City of Cedar Woolley, Friday with EDASC. So I'm available and I can talk to anybody that wants information. So I'm making myself available. You know, at the current time, I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people confirmed. But that there may be more. Just maybe some people haven't written me back. I'm going to follow up again with another communication probably tomorrow or Thursday. The meeting's set to go on September 2nd at 9 a.m. We're probably going to fill up this parking lot in front if we get enough people. So if the commissioners could park in the back parking lot, just drive all the way around to the employee parking lot. And if you come at 8:30, just to have a little discussion and then to be able to greet people when they come in, that would be good. And then we're going to have, Shannon's going to, you know, get things for guests, drinks, coffee, snacks, like that sort of thing. There will be that other training going on at our other building. That starts earlier though, right? I think that starts at 7:30. So yeah, there may be some people accidentally going to the wrong building. We'll address that as it happens, but there should be a lot of activity around here that day.
Just some questions and clarification on the actual format of the meeting itself and just kind of our role. Some questions that I have, I mean, there will be obviously moments where we'll need to clarify people's comments or even clarify the intent of some of the information we've provided. So I am of the impression that the more, you know, candid, the better. People don't get an opportunity to actually discuss anything with us. So I was told that we would be providing our comments and questions via writing to the consultants, and then the consultants can speak to everyone. I have a little bit of a concern with that, more so just the lack of, I don't know, it just seems really distanced and almost too formal. I don't know. It just gives me an essence of kind of ingenuine. I just, that's how I would take it if I were a stakeholder. So I don't know if there's a way that we can, you know, be slightly more engaged than that. I don't know if Burke has a hybridized approach that they could suggest, but the handing it to consultants and, you know, essentially putting us in a position where we can't speak to anyone just seems like putting us in a position where we're on a pedestal and everybody's our, you know, it just doesn't.
I mean, the technical expertise isn't going to be there, so.
Like Burke's not present at today's meeting, so Brian's not available to speak, but I know there's a couple of reasons to set it up that way. And my goal of having them as a facilitator is to remove me and then to have it set up the way it is with the questions, to remove the board from any kind of appearance of favoritism or anything like that, to try and keep us as a neutral party to listen. And so, you know, as we discussed over the last couple of meetings, Burke is meant to be a neutral party facilitator, and just, you know, we discussed the questions. The format was set up to discuss the questions, take feedback, take comments. I think there's going to be a need for clarification. I think that's just natural. And then, so Burke is going to be the point person for that. So if it's a technical question, I think they're going to look towards me or Bill or Mark, or if Mike's here, Mike can talk about it. And then they're going to direct that. The intent was to also, so to keep us kind of separated from that, and to keep the board separated from that, to just clarify through Burke, just as a neutral party. That was their intent. You know, I haven't been a part of this kind of a meeting before. I'm hoping that works as well. But yeah, that was their intent on having the meeting set up that way, and I'm hope it's successful. People still have a pathway to talk to you directly. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. Like, you can meet with anybody you want. The stakeholders we hope the stakeholders come to talk about the 6 questions that we put forward to them. And so the hope is that we get the feedback on those questions and that we listen. And I think the biggest mission for all of us is, especially the board, since you're making the decisions, is to hear what everybody has to say. I think clarification is natural. And, you know, that's Burke's intent, is to handle it that way. I guess, you know, we can talk to him about it before the meeting if there's a different possibility on the way they want to conduct the meeting. So coming at 8:30, that was part of my intent, is to just discuss the format and see if, you know, we're all clear on how we want to set up our roles. So
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Because there are just some really baseline technical questions that aren't even engaging into any. I just think that maybe a lot of people will have those questions at that moment, and then while it's fresh in their minds, and instead of waiting for that moment where they read your comment, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, well, we're already 5 chapters away from what that question was about.
technical questions, do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be available to talk directly to those. So yeah, we want to make sure we
Yeah, I don't want to
fill everybody in.
I
for
don't
sure.
want it to get lost
No.
by the time, like, I have a technical question and I have to hand it to someone, and then
I think if it's us, you know, we should be able to communicate and be able to clarify things if there's something that you're hearing as well. Yeah, that's something.
and
to-
make
to
sure that
clear
if
up.
there is misinformation, that someone has
Corrected.
stated that it
Corrected,
is
sure.
corrected quickly, not
Mhm.
allowed
Yes.
to stew. Those are my concerns.
Yes.
It's just, if I hear something, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I don't think that's the intent of what that was supposed to be. I don't want that delay, and because that can just turn people's
No.
behavior around very quickly.
Yeah, no, we can address that. Yeah,
That-
for sure.
Those are my concerns.
Okay. The agenda is set up where at the beginning of the meeting, I think they have 35 minutes for me and or Bill to talk about the background. So those pre-read materials, we're gonna go through them and talk about details, talk about technical details. Some people will already have that background. Others I'm talking to this week, and some may be learning as they go. So I agree. I think we need to educate everybody as much as possible, but not everybody's going to be at the same level. There's just no way that that's going to happen. So yes, we will keep people up to speed as we go on, because I think there's going to be the need for clarification for some. Sure. Yeah. On the technical side, for sure, we will deal with that. Yeah. That, like my conversation with the city of Burlington yesterday, there was just a lot of background information for somebody that hasn't been involved in this. And I could have talked to them for 3 hours and they still wouldn't have been at the level that others are going to be at the meeting. There's no way.
Not a user of the water, yeah.
It's hard to get up to speed that quickly. So there's just naturally going to be a divide, and yeah, we'll do our best to get everybody up to speed. So
Yeah, 8:30. If you can come at 8:30,
Yeah.
we've got a special meeting notice out, so everybody's aware. We'll have the meeting set up in a horseshoe fashion, so we'll be facing that screen. So I'll have tables set up for everybody. And yeah, we'll do our best. And then we have the schedule that follows. I didn't get into it here, but the same 6 questions are on our website. So on that page that we have for the transfer program, we've got all the pre-read materials are there. The same 6 questions are there, and the public is able to go in, and anybody can go in and fill those out with their comments. And those are due on the Friday, so 2 days after our stakeholder meeting. And then we'll compile everything that we heard at the meeting, along with any comments we get. And if anybody has mailed anything in, some of the stakeholders may not be able to come and they may submit a written comment. But we'll try and get all of that together and then for the board when on October 13th is when we're gonna kind of unroll it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all I have to on that.
All right, so new business, granting a setback easement for Panorama storage tank. Mark, I'm assuming? No more water in hand.
So this this easement is similar to the one we that the commission passed for the disinfection building, where we need to have a 35-foot setback from an adjacent structure or neighboring structure up at the water treatment plant. Exact same situation. We own a bunch of parcels, but both of these parcels are south of Judy Reservoir, and the way that the I guess topography is out there, siting the tank is pretty difficult on that slope, and this easement really helps us put it where we want to put the tank, or where it's most economical to put the tank. We don't anticipate a lot of other structures being built up there.
Can you scroll down, Nick, just to show the map of the properties?
Yeah, you have to
Click the
hit
link.
the number 2. Yeah. Yep. That will show the map.
Is there current good road access? I couldn't really see very
No.
well on the map. Okay.
No, it's a tough road. And that's part of the project. Getting up there is like the construction on the road is going to be pretty significant. I think there's like 20% grades right now, and we're going to have to, and we got to put a big road up there for fire access and all this other stuff. So it's a pretty big deal. The road itself is a pretty big deal.
But that's all part of the budget, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so far the budget's looking good.
And that's all going to be bidded as part of the project, is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All one.
So that shows the red is the easement on that other piece of property that we own.
Perfect.
And you can kind of see where it is relative to Judy Reservoir in the bottom right there.
I would make a motion to authorize the general manager to grant the attached setback easement to Skagit PUD for the Panorama storage tank.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. Excellent. Looks like there's a few, as George had mentioned earlier, information, safety practices, press release for water conservation with Anacortes, and letters from community members regarding the water lease program, budget, and reservoir data. Any commissioner comments?
None for me.
I would just bring up, I was invited by Alan Rosenblatt, Planning and Development, the county, to sit in on a meeting this Friday regarding, apparently the county received a grant to study clean energy opportunities in Skagit County. So they reached out and invited me to sit in on that in light of our microhydro projects and some of the other opportunities across the state. And so that'll happen this Friday. Excited to see where that's going. But other than that, nothing else.
I have been thinking about our, obviously, stakeholder forum and water rights lease program, and just trying to think of kind of a short-term versus long-term goals for this program. Obviously, it's going to take us time to develop this program, and notably, we may not have something together by January. in which we usually start our lease transfer process. So maybe just in part of our discussions moving forward, discussing what maybe 2027 may look like, and then our water policy being active as of the 2028 growing season may be a avenue that we should explore to provide certainty and ensure that we're not in a hurry or have any pressure unnecessarily for us to rush this process.
Agreed.
Maybe something we should bring up in our October meeting.
Yeah.
Excellent. With that, we will adjourn. Oh,
Just a reminder, there's no meeting on September 8th, which is our next scheduled meeting. So we canceled that one. So our next regular meeting is September 22nd.
perfect. My birthday. Excellent. All right. And we will adjourn at 5:05.